For more than a century, audiences have been enthralled by animation, which tells stories that range from whimsical to profoundly transformative. However, it frequently seems like the business world ignores this dynamic medium despite its extensive history and influence. Why does animation still not receive the recognition it merits despite its exceptional capacity to tell a story in creative ways? Animation should be supported and respected more from a professional point of view, and it is often overlooked compared to other kinds of medias. For my credibility, I have taken 2 classes before that have had a decent focus on animation and analyzing forms of media. For my main points, I will be talking about the workforce and the work conditions, and the ignorance of the artworks when dealing with animation. So let's begin with a big problem: the people behind it. I have no ill will against the animators themselves, but the situation behind the budgeting and time management. Animation has a big issue within the workforce due to the work required to create the medium. In many countries such as Japan, the cost of animation is much lower, as the monthly wage is surprisingly low, getting close to the equivalent of $300 per month. This lack of pay is an issue, as the workers deserve to be paid more, as they spend tens or even hundreds of hours working on the animation. The budget for animation is often a large amount lower than that of live-action shows as well. For example, the popular show Invincible has been stated, according to E.P. Marge Dean, that the show had a budget less than 4 times that of The Boys. Considering that the budget for the first season of The Boys was $11.2 million per episode, Invincible was working with around $2.8 million per hour, and that's on the upper end. This animation has to be stretched thin in order to pay for the workers, the voice actors, the sound, and the storyboarding. In a show such as Invincible, the budget has to be managed carefully, as the voice actors cost a decent amount of the budget due to the high-end actors such as Steven Yeun. Deadlines also create an issue within the process of animation, as strict deadlines can create issues in the animation and the condition of the workers. As animation is time-consuming, deadlines can force the workers to spend overtime, paid or unpaid, to finish everything before the deadline strikes. This can lead to work being finished just mere days before the work comes out, not allowing for that finishing polish. If the medium were to become more respected, deadlines could be less an issue, as companies would understand how long it takes to create high-quality animation. And if the animation in turn is more high quality, the businesses could get more views and in turn more money. Okay, but how does the big picture of the Oscars see the animation? Simply put, the Oscars ignore animation in almost any field except the animation-based categories. While there are many examples of animation being nominated for non-best animated feature categories, not that many have won. While there are a decent amount of wins in Best Original Song or Score, that doesn't really say much about the actual animation compared to the band creators. There has also never been a single win in Best Original Screenplay, Visual Effects, or International Feature Films. While many movies can be arguably much better than the animated ones for the given category in Neo, it's weird how so many can be nominated, but none of them win. On the topic of the Best Original Song and Score, it is interesting how the category not focused on animation in the medium that has the most nominations and wins. While music is not dependent on the medium it comes from, it alludes to how the voters and people who nominate the films/songs don't care about the animation itself. The main thing is that most voters either don't care about the animation, think it's childish, or can be blatantly racist towards foreign animation. This is seen through the official commentary from voters of the categories, displaying their thoughts. While they may be anonymous, you do know their exact words. One such vote for the 2014 awards said that for the Lego movie to not be an over these 2 freaking Chinese effing things that nobody ever freaking saw, this is my biggest bitch. Most people don't even know what they want. How does that happen? That, to me, is the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen. End quote. The very obvious disrespect towards foreign animation, referring to a Japanese and Irish film as Chinese, when there is no similarity between these countries in terms of animation. Another problem is that most voters only watch these movies if their children have seen the movies, which just supports the wrong belief that animation is just for children. Luckily, the new rule from the academia requires members who have actually watched every film in a category to vote, plus having to fill out forms verifying when and where they are revealed. Hopefully, this will persuade more voters to actually take their time appreciating animation and not just voting it for what their children like. Overall, animation has been ignored for what it's worth in the professional sense, as the main problems include the situation for the woke and the lack of awareness from important awards such as the Oscars. The public should respect and value animation more because it is a dynamic medium that will last for many years. Even though information sharing by itself has limits, it can have a big impact on how decision makers and businesses executives think. We can provide valuable recognition and acceptance within the creative community by improving knowledge of animation's artistic merits and storytelling potentials. Thank you.